Hi everyone, so I want to sit down and share with you my creative recovery process, and I apologize for the way that I sound. I am recovering from a really bad cold, so if you're wondering what's going on with my voice, so I want to sit down and share with you guys my creative recovery process and why I've struggled creatively with creating projects, making choreography, making content, stuff like that. And I want to use this as a way to document my journey from the things that I've been learning so far from this book, The Artist Way. I've been learning a lot about this book. I'm only starting week 3, so I'm pretty early on this journey. So I have learned so many things and opening up a new level of perspective. While I'm not going to cover every single thing that I've read, I do want to point out the things that really resonated with me and things that I'm trying to practice in my creative journey and in my life. So as an artist, I struggled a lot with perfectionism. I do consider myself a really hardcore perfectionist, and I feel like that has really hindered my journey and my process. I would make work and it would be really early, like really rough draft, really from the root of it, and then I look at this rough draft and I just like hardcore judge it, and I would compare myself to like other professionals that have their work as like masterpiece, like final draft, like cleaned up, stuff like that. Or even if it's not like finalized, like I would think that their early work is like so much better than mine and I need to do better. I just really judge my work, and I put myself in this pattern thinking that I'm not good enough and that this needs to be like this. Look at the way this person's doing it, and it just becomes like a cycle, an ongoing cycle, and then like as a result I never move forward with it. I shut it down. I just shut it all down, and I just felt defeated at the end of the day. In this book, Julia covers something called artist abuse. Basically, artist abuse is judging premature work, meaning that if you're really early in your artist journey, in your artistic work, and if you're already judging the work as it is, that is called artist abuse. I think that's how you define it. Let me make sure I give the right definition. I'm just gonna read off of page 29 of this book. So she says, judging your early artistic effort is artist abuse. This happens in any number of ways. Beginning work is measured against the masterwork of other artists. Beginning work is exposed to premature criticism, shown to overly critical friends. In short, the fledgling artist behaves with well-practiced masochism. I have no idea what that is. Masochism is an art form long ago mastered, perfected during the years of self-approach. This habit is the self-hating bludgeon in which a shadow artist can beat himself right back into the shadows. So that really resonated with me because I am really hard on myself, and in the most unhealthy way that I can think of. Something that I'm trying to practice is patience, and understanding that when I create things, that it's really fresh and that's just coming from my head and like coming from my body, natural movements, that it's something that is not to be judged on the spot right away. It is something that is in the stage of exploration, in the stage of navigation, and just trying to make sense of the movement without thinking it too much about it, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm taking from it. And if I were to record myself improvising and stuff like that, I will not look at the video until maybe I leave or something like that, unless it's really necessary. Like really early on into like if I'm trying to make a choreography, like a piece or a section of a song, I will try not to look at it when I finish recording it, just so that I'm not forcing myself to make something out of what's not. I tend to be very fixated about what I want things to be, and I kind of like close off of other options. Another thing I learned from the book is something that is called old monsters from the past. It's basically people that didn't really have any good intentions for you, that bullied you in the past. It could be something that happened in elementary school, and she even made an example out of it. Like that 5th grade bully is your monster, because they are someone that is the root of your suffering today. If you hadn't, you know, fixed it or like put an end to it, you just kind of let it bottle up, basically. I had a lot of monsters in my past. Specifically, it was someone in my family. It goes way back when I was like about 7 or 6 years old. That situation really, I felt like it really hindered my progress, and it held me back a lot because of the beliefs that I tied myself with to that situation. In that situation, I was like at the zoo or something like that, or I was coming from the zoo, and I was with like a aunt or like a cousin. I don't even know. I don't really consider them my family. It was just people that I was like with at the time, but apparently they're in my family, but whatever. We was coming from the zoo, and my cousin was being a fucking asshole. So this person would just like for fun, I guess, like shove me, push me, like bother me, poke me, like take stuff out of my hands. Like he was just an asshole. Like that, by definition, an asshole. You know, I was pissed, like anybody would be. Like, you know, stop pushing me, stop poking me, stop like messing with me, like leave me alone, you know? Like anybody, you would, like a normal person would say that to an asshole, right? I don't know if it was like his mom or whoever, but this person made a comment, and that comment was like in a joking manner to someone else, and it was like, Madison is always the unhappy one, always the angry one, always yelling and stuff like that. And then they laughed about it, and I remember from that moment I felt like so betrayed, and I felt like there was like a knife that went into my heart. I was so young, and I was so vulnerable and helpless, and these adults who were supposed to be role models failed me. They failed me. They failed to defend me. They failed to stand up for what's right. And as a result, like me being a child, that comment hurt me a lot. For some reason, I felt like I had to live by that comment. That was a comment made about me that I believed at the time that was part of my characteristic, and I felt like I had to live by that. I felt like I didn't deserve to be happy, and that was something that I lived with growing up. As a result, I was an angry child. I was problematic, and even in moments where I was happy for that moment, I instantly felt uncomfortable because there was voices in my head that was like, no, this isn't you. You're supposed to be unhappy, and you're supposed to be that angry Madison that they characterized you. That like grew into something very, very negative, and it only took me until recent times now that I'm settling down and telling myself, no, this is not true. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to feel comfortable being happy. And if somebody is telling you to not be happy, and that if you look silly for being happy, that person has other things that they need to deal with within themselves, and that has nothing to do with you. I label that monster number 1 because I was the root cause of all of my suffering. Now that I'm like basically officially putting that demon to rest, I feel more relaxed and more of a difference. And yeah, one of the assignments to follow up with was writing like a defense letter, like stand up for your own self. I'm not gonna read the letter because I said a lot of like fucked up shit. Next thing was naming your champions, meaning people who had nothing but good intentions for you, always supported you no matter what. I had some champions in my life, and one of them I would say is my guidance counselors in high school. I believe her name is Miss Callow, and if you are watching, Miss Callow, I love you, and I hope you're doing well, and I wish nothing but the best in health and wellness. And my hairstylist, Alice, I also love you, and you have been nothing but super supportive and always sought out for the best for me. And you know, I'm so glad I met you, and I'm so glad I came across with you. And yeah, I'm nothing but love, and I hope you are well as well. Another one is also Amy. She is a advisor, major advisor, always had my back, always sought nothing but the best for me, and love you as well. And there are many other champions. Something else that I learned from that book is that resonated with me is being careful with who I let into my circle, especially as a new recovering artist. I had to cut some people out of my life because so much negative energy from them. And trying to think, it was just like a lot of things that happened between me and this person, and like how this person like destroyed the family and destroyed our relationship. And I tried to build a bridge again with this person, but at the end of the day, this person always let me down, always disappointed me. As someone who's supposed to be a good parent and as someone who's supposed to be a role model, I didn't see that person that way. Because of that, it was time for me to just cut ties with him and just move on with my life. Even if he still doesn't understand why I cut him off, like sometimes you just gotta let people be where they are. If they don't understand, figure it out themselves. And even if the answer is obvious, they still don't choose to understand, nothing more you can do, right? Life has been better without this person. If you know someone is bad for you, bad for your creative recovery, any recovery in general, you gotta sit down with yourself and ask yourself if this person is holding you back. Because if they are, you gotta make the decision to cut them off. If you're trying to get to a better place in life and this person is not complimenting that, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go. That's what I did. Something else that I'm also doing is like really paying attention to the present moment and taking note of what I spend a lot of my time on. Something that I'm really spending too much of my time on is being on my phone and on social media. As some people know, I don't go on Instagram as much anymore. I'm on a detox in a way because Instagram is something that was a weapon against me that I use on myself, because I feel like Instagram is the app that I see a lot of like highlight reels and a lot of things that I compare myself to. And because of that, like I told myself that enough is enough. I delete the app off my phone. I still go on Instagram, but on my computer. I don't really go on my computer that much, so which means that I don't go on Instagram as much. That's something that I noticed that it helped in a way, because I'm not doom scrolling on there. I mean, I am doom scrolling on TikTok, but TikTok is like more of like a funny app. Like it's not like an aesthetic app. It can be used as an aesthetic app, but Instagram is mostly, to me, aesthetic. So I use TikTok to laugh. Like I just want to laugh on TikTok. So that's something that I use TikTok for. Something that's a huge obstacle in my creative journey is being so fixated on creativity and money, because money is something that I struggle with. And I don't struggle badly, but finance is something that I'm really trying to improve. And I get so fixated on things to do that can make me money that I find myself doing things that I don't enjoy. And like I like creating content, but then like I'm creating content, I'm like trying different things, and I tried finance, like creating content about finance, and I didn't really enjoy that because, you know, I don't have much knowledge about finance, but I do make content about my financial journey and things that I'm learning. And although I still can do that, and I still like might be able to do that, I find that that is something that I mainly don't enjoy as a main niche. So finding something that clicks with me that can potentially make me money in the future has been something that I really struggle with. And it put me in like this state that I just felt like worthless and felt like I had no creativity. I'm sorry, I'm getting a headache trying to push through. I need water. Let me get water. It put me in a place where I felt hopeless, and I felt like I'm like a good for nothing type of person, and my worst enemy just like beats me down and like tells me that I'm not good enough and that I should consider something else that's outside of creativity. And so as I was like thinking about things that I enjoy, because one of the assignments asks us to do to list out things that you enjoy. And I remember back in middle school, I did YouTube in middle school, and I was so consistent, and I enjoyed making the videos, and I enjoyed editing the videos, and it was me doing like stretching tutorials and like dance tutorials. And even though I was still conscious about what other people might think of me, like I still was consistent, I was still doing it, and then because of that I gained results. And I can put like proof on this side or whatever, but I was getting results, even though I was like, oh my god, what this person's gonna think about me if they found out that I have a YouTube channel. I feel like that's something that I want to get back into, and I gotta figure it out how to go about it without thinking too much, because I lived in Florida back then. I lived in Orlando, and I had the space, the aesthetic, and stuff like that. And now I'm like in New York, in the projects, like in the ghetto. And like I need to make the space that will help me like be motivated to do it, if that makes sense. So I'm still in the process of like thinking about like what to move around, what to get, and yeah, that's something that's like in the process right now, and I'm trying to get it in motion so I can like do things that I love and that can potentially have me earn income. Yeah, I think that's it. Right now I just finished week 2 assignments. I am on week 3. Yes. I'm also reading a book about family trauma, and it's called It Didn't Start With You. And I can only take this book in small dosage because it's about trauma, and some of the examples are a little graphic. So I'm like, it's interesting to know how trauma is inherited, but I can only take that book in small doses. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share, and thank you so much for listening, and I will try my very best to be consistent. And I made a contract somewhere, it's right here, tracked from the book. This is from the book. So to get my creative recovery consistent and going, and yeah, that's it. Bye.